Mic check 1 2 1 2.
All right, there we go. Well, this is the first podcast we got going on here. This is the Homeboy Talk podcast. To keep it short, we're going to call it Homeboy Talk. And I want to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is 𝐿𝑅𝑖𝑂N online. That is Orion online. And go ahead and introduce yourself, bro.
Hey everyone, my name is Dion Donovan. I am the writer and creator of the infamous Florida Man.
There we go. Now, I just want to go ahead and let you guys know that this is our first podcast, so we're going to be just running through some intros. And I think I'm set with mine. How about you?
I think I'm good with mine too, man.
All right, well, there you go. And then what we're going to also do is, with this being our first podcast, I would just want to take this opportunity to start on a new topic. Basically, since it's the new year, it is 2020, and I think February is a good month where things are starting to kick off, especially with the Sonic movie, basically, right?
Oh yeah, most definitely. It was the #1 movie in the box office this past weekend. Dude, it made I think close to 70 million.
70 million.
Yeah, it outdid Detective Pikachu for I think domestic box office numbers. So it was a good weekend for nerddom in general.
Exactly, and I'm looking forward to what they're going to do with Hollywood. I know that Sonic kicked off the new year, and it was a much needed thing because it was pushed back to be redesigned by the designers, and they worked really, really hard to make it appealing to everybody. Because I had my gripe, and me, for a few guys that's not familiar with me, I'm into graphic designing, and I know how much of it is a eyesore, to design something towards the, the suits. I'll call them the suits, the corporate offices, stuff like that. And they're gonna they're trying to push the agenda. It's like, oh, we want a realistic Sonic. I could just envision as a designer them cringing of the idea that I have to design something that looks completely different from the source material itself as Sonic the Hedgehog, designed by Sega,
Yeah, I don't know who at Paramount approved that initial design. They must have been doing some crack or something, because that was the epitome of you guys don't know what you're doing. You don't know what the fans want with this movie, especially in terms of the design. So I'm glad they listened to the fans and redid it and delayed the film to the February slot, because for once, it doesn't happen often. Valentine's Day and Labor Day week, President's Day, fell in the same weekend, so it was a 4-day weekend for box office numbers. So it definitely helped out for them to listen to the fans and to redesign the character and get it right the second time, instead of just ignoring us and saying oh, they don't know what they're doing, they don't know what they don't know what they want, we'll give them what they want, like a lot of other movie companies have done in the past couple of years, and It worked out for them. And hopefully, we're not always right, but there is some truth to the fans and their complaints, and maybe some other companies will follow suit in that.
And what's so crazy is because you and I both know how crazy the Sonic fans are.
Oh yeah.
And they're highly insane. And I'm a Sonic fan, but not an extremist level. I've been playing Sonic since the Sega Genesis days. And I've loved Sonic 1 and Sonic 2. Yeah, as a kid, I never beat them. I just enjoyed playing them. But now, growing up, you start to learn the mechanics of the game, and you play them a lot, and you start to learn the appreciation of Sonic, and what his purpose is in life, But then now we're seeing it in movie productions, and we know the history of video game movies. It's just all right, you tread in tricky territory, because it's almost a hit and miss. Because my history of video game movies come from the start of Mario Brothers. When when I went to the movie theaters, I was expecting the plumber with a mustache, riding a Yoshi. But when I was in the theaters and I watched Mario when that came out, I'm like, what? As a kid, I didn't enjoy it, but as an adult, I was like, all right, you got to remember, this is probably a re-envisioning of Super Mario, and you have to take it for what it is, and it has a specific charm for itself. But as a kid, I couldn't accept it.
Oh man, I love that. I love that freaking movie, man. The Super Mario Brothers movie with Bob Hopkins.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so cheesy and dated and so 90s that it's good fun if you don't even take it seriously. But if you were to tell me back in the 90s that a Sonic movie would come out and like 30 years and be successful, I'll be like, yeah, sure. But you know, with the recent games, I mean, Sonic has kind of gotten back on his feet, but the quality and the popularity of the character was at its peak, I think, in the 90s. So it's kind of strange to see, I guess, kind of how the Sonic games aren't as well revered. The newer games, that is the older ones, and it's still peaked at box office. It beat Pokemon. I mean, who would know, like, in 2019 that Sonic's gonna outgrows Pikachu in Pokemon, and Pokemon Go is like the best-selling, most profitable game for nerds and normies, like, of all time. Nintendo made bucket loads of money. So it's just crazy how Sonic outdid Pikachu and outdid, you know, the Resident Evil series and a whole bunch of other video game movies that failed to capture that magic in the box office.
Oh, no, don't get me wrong now. Pikachu was a good movie. You know?
It was solid.
It was really good, you know, and I had low expectations for that movie, you know. I mean, I like Ryan Reynolds. Don't get me wrong. I like Ryan Reynolds, but who did they cast at first? They wanted first Danny DeVito. Danny
DeVito, was it?
Yeah, they wanted Danny DeVito to be the voice of Pikachu, and that's all I could think of in my mind. I said, you know what? For not taking Pokemon serious or Pikachu serious, stuff like that, I condone it. I would endorse that idea for Danny DeVito to be Pikachu. But they got Ryan Reynolds, and you know, and all I could hear is Deadpool. But when you take your mindset out of Deadpool and don't know him as Ryan Reynolds being Pikachu, you're like, all right, there's some charm into it. And I don't go into these family-friendly movies, you know, with a high expectation, because they're appealing to the kids. So I can understand that, because you and I both know, we understand, you know, the magic of being magic of a character, you know, especially us. We're cosplayers. We understand of being a character, you know.
Yeah. And
we just understand that discipline, and you're there to appeal to kids and stuff, you know. And I know with these movies, they're there to just appeal to kids. And I appreciate the little charm that they got going on with Pikachu, and now with Sonic, there's a charm to him as well, you know, which is I can learn to appreciate. So whenever I see all these kid movies, especially when I saw that trailer, it was just kid movies back to back, you know, and I'm like, yeah, I can't watch all this in theaters. This is stuff that I'll watch if it comes into Netflix, or if I come across it in you know, in download or digital download, whatever it comes in for. But you won't see me in theaters. Sonic was one of those rare movies that I was willing to go, even though when I went to the theaters, I did, of course, encounter hearing kids in the background and crying babies and stuff like that. You know, that's usually sometimes one of the reasons why I avoid going to movie theaters in the first place when it comes to kiddie movies and stuff, you know.
Right.
Rated PG movies and rated R movies, stuff like that, I rarely have to worry about that kind of stuff, you know. But
should there be ignorant people in them too?
Yeah, they'll be there too, you know. Sometimes I'm that way. I mean, you gotta
shit talk yourself sometimes for entertainment.
Yeah, like, I ain't gonna lie, you know. I mean, if you guys have not seen Avengers, I think I've always made it a tradition to watch Avengers at least twice in theaters, you know. So the box office got my dollars twice, you know.
Yeah.
And I've always watched all Avengers back to back, you know, because I appreciate the art, I appreciate the storytelling, I appreciate the actors' work and everything, you know. And when I'm seeing, when I watch Avengers, I come in definitely expecting a good, high quality, you know, AAA film, you know. And when I go in there, I'm invested. I am invested, you know. Maybe it's not as extreme, but I'm invested, because spoiler warning or not, you know, like when you know, Thanos, he did that snap and people were disappearing, I was invested, because I walked home and I was like, I'm sad.
Yeah, I remember opening night of that in my theater. Everyone was just like shocked. I've never heard so many in the theater before like that. Especially, you know, Black Panther was at the height of his popularity, especially after his movie. No one was expecting, like, you know, oh, they're gonna kill Hawkeye or, you know, some of the minor key characters, but they basically got rid of Spider-Man and all the newbies, which was really a nice way to string our hearts and tug on our emotions. It was really a good move by Marvel to them too, and they always bring the heat every time. definitely with their movies. And I think with all these future video game property films is that I think Detective Pikachu and Sonic, you could definitely tell they were made with some heart.
Yeah.
Like they actually cared to make a quality family film. I never watched the Minions movies, to tell you the truth, or the last Grinch movie, or How to Train a Dragon. I'm sorry, I don't find those appealing. I didn't really watch those. I stopped watching Shrek after the second one. I think there's like 4 or 5 of them right now. And I heard they're about to reboot it again.
Yeah.
But I think definitely with the future films, they just put some heart into it, trying to make it, definitely try to make it for everybody, not just for children, but something for the adults. And definitely you could tell Pikachu and Sonic had Easter eggs for the fans of all generations, from Sega Genesis to all the kids right now with Sonic Boom, and I guess the memes online as well, how kids got exposed to Sonic. So both films definitely had an appeal for everybody, and they try to make it for the mom, the son, the father, the daughter, everyone in the theater will have a good time enjoying that film.
Yeah.
And I think that's definitely the way you should do it, and not just try to pigeonhole yourself into like, we gotta appease to the lowest common denominator and keep a 3-year-old's attention
right.
for an hour and a half, and have the parents be upset or just tired and watching the film. So
right.
It's definitely I'm excited for the future of Sega films, or whatever the video game films they're planning. Because I'm not sure if you noticed, but that opening title, it didn't scream Marvel to you, where they showed the glimpses of all the other Sega
It wasn't
games?
just Sega doing it. Because I remember when I watched Capcom movies, they did the same thing, where they had a collage of their entire history coming up into a title, So when I saw that, I was like, all right, Sega, are you banking on turning your IPs into movie productions?
Oh, most definitely.
Because all I could see is just Sonic. I don't see them turning any other IP that they own, like Jet Set Radio, or
maybe Shinobi,
or
Shenmue. Shenmue, is that Sega or is that Capcom?
I think it's Shenmue. Yeah,
Shenmue.
Yeah. I don't, like Knights and stuff like that. I don't necessarily see them turning them into movie productions. I mean, it really depends on these box office numbers and stuff like that. Like, I, to be honest with you, I can't see a Streets of Rage.
Streets of Rage would be dope.
If they took it out of they took it out of if they took it in the serious direction of how Streets of Rage was like, then I could see it as a quality movie, probably like something like Bad Boys and stuff, But I don't know, man. I mean, as far as I know, like you just said, man, like I'm excited for the future, but I'm coming in with low expectations, because there's no telling. Because as of right now, DreamWorks is in the works of doing a Super Mario movie, and them, they're the brand leaders in the video game industry. As they say, PlayStation is, but I really think that Nintendo took the lead at being a brand leader of video games,
Definitely.
Because everybody knows Mario, everybody knows Pikachu, everybody knows, the core Nintendo, like Link, everybody knows Kirby. They know, because anybody, I mean, even the boomer generation, you put a figure in front of them, like a character art, they'll be able to tell you, oh, that's from Nintendo. They might not know specifically, but they'll definitely know it's from Nintendo.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So,
yeah, and also I think that Nintendo was smart to partner up with Universal Studios to expand their parks.
Yeah.
The Super Nintendo World, I believe is what it's called.
Yeah.
Across, all over the globe, doing that expansion with them. Nintendo's always been kind of, I guess, safe in these last maybe 5 to 10 years. If they're branding outside of video games, they're very tight on their IPs and how their self-image is and their self-image on that. So. It's kind of like, if Sonic can do it, I mean, hell, Mario should be able to.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong and Link. I mean, they've been screaming for a Legend of Zelda live action on Netflix for years now. People wanting to see it. And it definitely could happen. Just Nintendo's just, they're pretty smart, and they're very, especially after the Super Mario movie back in the 90s, they're very protective, and they want to make sure that their IP's in the right hands for the right movie production, to make sure it's it's a for sure hit.
That's the truth.
Definitely, man. And also, I think that I think Sega does have some potential with their if they wanted to do like a little, I wouldn't say like a connected Sega universe, but they definitely with the mid credit scene. In the opening, you could see it was Knuckles, his tribe. They looked like the Echidnas.
Yeah, the
Echidnas were after Sonic, and it looks like
Yeah.
they definitely have like an expansion, like a little. They did a little bit of that world building. They didn't delve into it to make you seem like they're definitely preparing for number 2, 3, or 4. But they left it open for us. They left it open for themselves.
Yeah.
And now they can definitely go through that door for the next 2 or 3 because you have Shadow, Biggs the Cat, Rogue, Amy. Metal Sonic. They got so many more characters to introduce and different storylines they can pull from cartoons and video games. It's most definitely I could definitely see them doing 2 or 3 of the next. If they can keep the box office numbers going for this first film and they do a great continue that success with the second film, definitely they're good in terms of merchandising and reintroducing Sonic to a new generation of kids and people. This was a nice lightning in the bottle for them, and then we'll see if they can continue that. Literally, yeah. We'll see if they can continue that. And I also heard that Sony dropped the ball, and it was actually the Sonic movie was pitched to Sony. I forgot my resources on this, but I remember a little bit while back that Sony, there was rumors that Sony was going to be behind the Sonic movie, and Sony kind of dropped the ball and didn't think it was safe to do it, and then so Paramount picked up the production company behind the Sonic, who was pitching the Sonic film, and now bada bing bada boom, you got Sonic as a number 1 hit. And Sony is still relying on Spider-Man, and I guess James. Do they still got James Bond, or did they lose James Bond?
I don't know. I try to stick close to the source of what they are doing in Hollywood, and it just reminds me of all the things that actually took a chance that Hollywood tried to take a chance on. To be honest with you, like now that you pointed it out, that reminded me of how Ninja Turtles almost didn't happen.
Right.
Because nobody wanted to fund that idea. They didn't believe it, and it took a couple of people to put their money where their mouth is,
right,
invest into it. The first one did a good job. The second one blew it out, and the third one just. So I'm thinking maybe Sonic will go through the same trend. Who knows? It really depends. But yeah, that's interesting news. I didn't know that Sony was supposed to be the the core funder of it. But yeah, like I said, they're so dependent on their Spider-Man universe of seeing what they're doing, because I'm looking at the state of pop culture, and they're really digging into the comic book lore,
right,
and trying to bring as much out to life, and plus more, and that's what I'm proud about, pop culture, because for the longest time, since you and I have been in high school and middle school and stuff like that, liking pop culture at that time was subculture.
It was, yeah.
So you really couldn't go to school liking, Dragon Ball Z or Pokemon or all that stuff like that, because at that point in time, we were known as geeks and nerds.
Right.
But, lo and behold, come in the future, in the 2000s, nerd culture and geek culture has exploded, and has grew above and beyond. Now it's just a part of pop culture, and everybody wants to be a part of it, and everybody's accepted to being a nerd and a geek, But like Hollywood is deep into it, into the nostalgia world, playing on our heartstrings. The industry in general, the toy industry, bro. Cannot tell you how many times they got me. Here in my little in my little podcast room, I have
tons and tons of
material.
of it.
They got me. They know how to appeal. There's a lot of toys I didn't have. Toys I did have as a kid, but me being a destructive kid, I broke them all.
Yeah.
But just to buy them and have them here, I was like, wow, man. It's like, this is what I grew up with, and it's here. It's almost like a back from the dead kind of thing, And the way that pop culture has shaped and also has impacted the video game industry, because now we're just getting reboots of everything that we grew up on, And it's just interesting, you know, because even with all this going on, we also got the cosplay industry, you know, well, not the industry, but, you know, the community, you know,
Yeah.
where they dug deep into it, and more people that you didn't think that were, you know, you didn't think that was a part of that nerd and geek fandom and stuff like that. You know, you thought they were too cool for it.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the cosplay world, you know, and they're in it hard, you know.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, and then we're looking at, you know, people that you see, you know, gawking on the internet with these cosplay girls. You know, they're like, some of them, they're like, you know, they look like they should be models, but they're in the cosplay community, you know, and really appealing to the fandom, you know, and that increases the hype for pop culture, you know. So with movies, toys, games, cosplay, just a whole bunch of other stuff that's going on at the moment, you know, it's appealing to the pop culture world. And this is really a great time to be a geek. And I thought it was going to die down, honestly, but it's 2020 now.
Yeah.
And it's still going hard.
It's not going anywhere, to be honest with you, man.
Doesn't seem like it.
Doesn't seem like it, from, like you mentioned, the movies to just in general. I mean, 20 years ago, you wouldn't really see anyone wearing a Captain America t-shirt or a Thor t-shirt.
Right.
And now you have people of all ages, you know, color and creed, wearing a Thor shirt, a Captain America shirt, and think nothing of it. There's no like, oh, it's Captain America. I read issue number 50 of it as a kid. It's just like, oh, it's Captain America. I love Captain America from what they know of the movies or whatever television series.
Right.
You know, it's definitely not going anywhere. I think Hollywood is they're playing it safe, and they probably ran out of ideas in a certain sense.
Yeah.
It seems like they run out of ideas, and the good ideas that they do have don't get the exposure or the marketing, and they become kind of financial bombs for these movie companies. So they play the safe route. They need something with some source material, and that's always been around, whether it's been books or a television series, and now it's comics. Now they're digging into the comics, because comics is they have unlimited source material for stories, you know. I wish that the comic industry as a whole was as healthy as the movies that they're being based off and everything else, because comic sales are kind of at all-time low. But in that sense, because of the movie appeal, you have people going to watch the Black Widow movie, you know, and it's like, Black Widow was nobody in the 90s. It's crazy to think. Sure, you would think Spider-Man, X-Men, it used to be you got to build your way up. You got to have a cartoon series, and then you got to see how big your cartoon series is, and then we'll think, okay, well, how big are you right now with that in toy sales? Okay, well, now we'll push you into movies. Now it's just like, this property looks interesting. Guardians of the Galaxy. You know what? Avengers in space, we could use that. Doesn't matter if nobody knows anything about them or have any kind of brand recognition. Now you can literally make a movie of any kind of hero, and as long as the marketing is good and the end product, the movie quality is great, people they're gonna go see it. They're definitely gonna go see it. I know back in the day, Wild West movies were a thing, and they kind of gone away. I don't know how long that reign was, but I mean, the superhero thing, I mean, if you think about it, since Blade in the 90s, it hasn't stopped since, you know, and it really exploded once Spider-Man got in the scene, and then it redid it again once the Avengers and the MCU and Iron Man came together. So, and I mean, it's not going anywhere. The Avengers, Endgame, this is the biggest movie of all time in the box office. It beat Avatar. I mean, Thanos is literally this larger-than-life pop culture icon now that everyone recognizes. Oh, the purple alien guy? Yeah, that's the thing. You can ask anyone now, see a picture of Thanos, they're going to recognize it. And it's nuts that this 90s series from Marvel Comics developed into the biggest movie of all time. Literally 6 pages of comics, definitely with some legacy behind it and character development, has now turned into billions of dollars in the box office, and everyone's looking for the next big potential thing in the comic medium, to make into a movie. And a lot of writers and a lot of people are using the medium as a source of movie pitches, script pitches. You know, I'm making this in hopes of it gets picked up by somebody. I mean, because they know now is the time of being a nerd. It's
Yeah.
the most profitable time. It's the most culturally accepted time. I mean, sky's the limit.
Exactly.
Seriously.
I want to go off the topic of what you just said. You know how the movie industry has picked up ideas and somewhat feel like that they're running out of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
You can only think about like how many times are you going to reboot a particular property, you know?
Right.
Like how many times are you going to reboot Spider-Man? How many times are you going to reboot Batman? How many times are you going to reboot, you know, all these other properties, you know? Because look at that, like I'm seeing Batman. What's this, the 4th or 5th reboot?
Something along the lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're looking at Batman, then you're also looking at you know, the Gotham universe. Now you're looking at Spider-Man and their universe.
Yeah.
Then you're looking at who else is, you know, Fox is coming in now. So how many times are you gonna reboot X-Men? How many times are you gonna reboot Fantastic Four?
Superman.
And like how many times is this going to happen? Because now, you know, you and I seen Ninja Turtles been rebooted 3 or 4 times. You know? We've seen Power Rangers getting ready to get into its 3rd reboot.
Hopefully they land the landing this time.
Yeah, when the second reboot didn't get a sequel. You know, they're like, we like the idea, but we'll scrap it. We're gonna make another one. So I was like, how many times are our properties that we grew up in as a kid? How many times is that gonna continue getting rebooted? How many times is that gonna happen? How many times are they gonna try to give other chances to other things? You know, like I understand, like the corporations and companies, they have to approve because they're the ones that's putting the money in. You know, and now you got even bigger investors. Now you got China investing in the movies. You know,
right?
So, you know, Birds of Prey. They're talking about like, you know. I haven't seen the movie, but I did see some behind the scenes stuff about it. And Harley Quinn was supposed to have 2 hyenas, but they only have 1. You know, knowing her having 2 hyenas,
right?
You know?
From the anime series and everything.
Yeah, and they're like, yeah, we couldn't afford another hyena. I'm like,
what?
What do you mean you couldn't afford another hyena? Harley Quinn is known for hyenas. She has 2. She's always has 2. So she's only got 1. You know,
they had enough money to remove the mustache off Henry Cavill and Superman and Justice League. You could put a hyena in Harley Quinn's movie.
You could do that because we're probably gonna have to hold that topic on another day of like digital artists that's actually going in and, you know, frame by frame making a particular artwork look good. You know,
yeah, doing some work.
Because that's, I mean. No lie, when I was in high school, you know, when I wanted to graduate, that's what I wanted to get into, was computer graphics, you know. But then I'm looking at the industry now. I'm so glad I didn't go get into that dream because they work overtime. Gaming industry and movie industry, they're working overtime. And now you mentioned comic books, even those illustrators, stuff like that, they're working on a nickel and dime and hopes and dreams.
Right, pretty much.
Hoping for their work to be seen and stuff like that, you know. So it's like, all right, you know, I appreciate what pop culture is doing, you know, but people are, you know, putting blood, sweat, and tears trying to get their vision known and seen, you know. And, you know, when I sit and watch these movies and I look at the credits, I say, these are people putting in hard work. Just make people's dreams come true. You know, you want to see Ninja Turtles like in live action. These are people who, you know, working really, really hard to make that vision come true. You know, and I'm looking at it now with what's going on with pop culture and stuff. You know, it's like, you know, I really, really hope that they dig deep even more into pop culture, the obscure library of stuff. You know,
right,
and give them a chance, because those were visions before that was thought of and was probably a hit at that time, but now as we gotten further into the future, they've just become obscure in nature, you know.
Right.
You know, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I said, you know, there is times where I sat there, I saw what Nickelodeon's doing and I see what Disney's doing. You know, Disney's working hard with Star Wars and Marvel and all that other stuff, you know. Whereas Nickelodeon, they've been reusing stuff that's already been existing. You know, SpongeBob, Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, they've been
cash
around.
cow right there.
Yeah, and I'm like, the cash cow. I said, you know, so what happened to back in the day when they took risk, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, all that was a risk.
Hey Arnold.
Yeah, Hey Arnold was a risk.
Yeah.
Doug was a risk. All Rugrats, all that stuff like that.
Yeah.
But now you don't. Well, where's a revision Rugrats movie? Where's a revision Rocco's movie? I mean, yeah, they did a Rocco's movie, but where's a CG one?
Yeah, exactly.
Where's a CG? Well, I don't necessarily want to see a CG Doug movie, but
yeah, well, sure, why not?
You know,
you know?
I mean, well, yeah, we can give it a try. You know, but you know, even upscare stuff. You know, like I was talking with another homeboy of
Angry
mine.
Beavers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking about, so what about the other stuff, like the Saturday morning cartoon stuff that they took chances on? You know, like, you know, Biker Mice from Mars and stuff like that. So where is that obscure, you know, that piece of work? You know, where's SWAT Cats? Where's
Street Sharks?
Street Sharks.
Oh,
Where's
yeah.
Secret Squirrel? You know, like the Scooby-Doo is getting another movie reboot.
I saw that for the trailer and one of the trailers for the Sonic movie, and I didn't see it before. I think I saw people post up online. I ignored it. I didn't really pay attention to it.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the trailer, I'm like, yeah, it's another Scooby-Doo.
Another Scooby-Doo. I said, but Hanna-Barbera made other stuff. You know?
Hundreds of characters.
You're stuck with Scooby-Doo. Like, you could make Josie the Pussycats if you want to.
Right.
Or if you wanted to make a Jabba Jaw.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like the state of pop culture, but where's the obscure stuff? That's what I want to know, you know. But, you know, and then you're looking at the comic book world. There's comics out there that has not even seen, like you know, the light of day in a pop culture world, you know. And I was like, I wonder when bigger investors are going to take the chance on those properties, you know.
Right. Well, some of it doesn't help when it comes to getting into these big smaller IPs from the comics, is that, you know, Warner Brothers does the DC movies and Disney does the Marvel movies. So whatever obscure materials within those two companies, that's a done deal. Warner Brothers is not going to look at I don't know, Booster Gold and be like, you know what, we'll take a shot on it. I mean, you know, the chances are slim because it's controlled. Now, maybe Paramount would have done it, but they have the exclusive license with Warner Brothers. You know, and same thing with Disney. Disney will not look at maybe Luke Cage and Iron Fist and be like, you know what, we want to put them in the MCU. Now, who knows? Maybe they will.
Maybe.
But, you know, they're looking at them like, we can pass on that for now.
Yeah.
And maybe, I don't know, Universal Studios would have been like, oh, we could have took a chance on that. But, I mean, the reward is that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is pretty tight. It's compact. It has great quality movies. All of them are for the most part good, I think, except maybe like Thor 2 and maybe a couple other blunders. But with Marvel, they're pretty compact and they always deliver that fine quality every single movie. DC, on the other hand, that's a roller coaster ride of quality and emotions. It's just crazy how they knocked it out the park with Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. The cinematography on that was I wouldn't say artsy movie. It was like it's an artsy movie with some comic book influences with it. I mean, in that regard, and it was the #1 rated R movie of all time. Actually, it's the most profitable movie of all time because of the low budget. It grossed over $1 billion, and the budget was underneath $100 million. So it actually made more money to them than Avengers Endgame. Because Endgame cost, you know, probably like $400+ million to make, and then Joker probably maybe like 60, 70. Don't quote me on that. But you know, you knock it out the park with Joker, and then you leave Birds of Prey, you know, coming up, and the reviews are positive, but you're not getting the results in the box office, and I mean, it's kind of mixed between, I guess, the fans. I mean, some praise it, some say it's not that great, and some you know. Some want to root for it because they have like a personal attachment to the character and what the movie stands for, and it stands for, you know, girl power and, you know, the female empowerment movement, and all the mediums. So they want it to succeed. So there's some people are having that personal attachment to it, but it's it's not doing well at all at this moment. And And I think they've been milking Spider-Man and Batman and X-Men. I mean, those are your high hitters for these companies for the longest time. And you know, sometimes those risks do come through. Like Deadpool was a complete risk. And
they should have known it was going to hit, though.
They should have had the foresight. Yeah,
they should have already knew that was going to be a hit. Like, here's some things that, like you just mentioned, when they're going to take chances on certain things. It's like you should already know that was going to be a hit. Like, given Logan, Wolverine, giving him the R rating, that green light of R rating, we all knew that was going to hit.
Yeah.
That was going to hit. You can't PG-13 Wolverine.
Right. And it came at the right time, though. It had about 17 years of movies and character development to get to that point.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful finale to pretty much the X-Men universe. Should have been the last X-Men movie.
Yeah.
Deadpool should have maybe had the third movie, and that would have been it.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, Wolverine, come on now. You can't... I mean... I think the Wolverine did okay when he was in Japan, the second one.
Yeah.
But to do a real Wolverine movie, rated R, was a no-brainer. And to do it in that style and that attention to detail and the characterization of Charles and everything, and all the characters that we've known and loved and grew up with since, I mean, the X-Men came out before the X-Men movie came out before Spider-Man, you know, and to kind of, it was hard seeing these characters age and go through the old, you know, the decrepit stages of their life, you know, and we felt that, you know, that was real to us. 'Cause that long period of time we just grew up with them. Definitely, there's a whole lot of hidden gems out there, and that they're ignoring, and they want to play it safe. They want to reboot Batman for the 5th time instead of maybe doing a Booster Gold, or even maybe, I mean, they're fine with Green Arrow on TV, but it's maybe some more obscure DC heroes they could definitely showcase to the big screen. And I give them credit, they did Shazam, which was I found it entertaining. I don't know about you. They did Shazam, which was actually the first superhero movie ever released way back in like the 30s or 40s or so. But it's out there. These companies, they want to play it safe. They want to reuse the same things over and over. They're heavy hitters. They gotta redo the heavy hitters because that's their safe bread and butter. You know.
I want to piggyback off of that idea because here's my thought process. Pop culture is at its biggest right now. Companies are willing to invest. You know, they understand that sometimes it can be a hit and miss. You know, a lot of properties can be a hit and miss. Not just movie companies, but just companies in general. You know, video games, toy companies. They all play a part. Even merch, like T-shirts, offline. They all play a big part of taking a chance on an IP. You know.
Yeah.
Now, when you said that, you know, like how Logan was a hit and Shazam was a hit and stuff like that, we understand the pop culture age range comes from infant to up, you know. And trying to appeal to that demographic, but you got to also realize, and I hope the fandom also realize stuff like that. It's even though that it's infancy to up, you know, to, you know, shoot 50-year-olds and 60-year-olds also enjoying what's going on in pop culture, you know. And my mindset on that, it's like, you know, even though the target demographic has a separate age gap and stuff like that, you got the kids, you got the teens, you got the adults who, you know, partake in pop culture, you know, but there's a huge audience, even in that age gap, there's a huge audience who's willing to watch something, you know. Now, like I said, with the adults, when we just talked about Joker, which was a rated R movie, you know, Logan, which was a rated R movie, did box office numbers, real big box office numbers. They didn't have to worry about the kids. They didn't have to worry about the PG-13 crowd and stuff like that. They did box office numbers because it's just working people that's going to the box office, putting our hard-earned cash to buy a ticket to watch a movie, you know. And, you know, heck, we're also people that goes watch Netflix. We are the hardworking people that spends $12.99, $14.99, or whatever the price is, stuff, to watch something that's on Netflix, you know, something that's probably rated R or something that's rated PG-13. Now you got us working adults who's buying Disney Plus to watch Mandalorian, you know? Like, there's an age group that's willing to spend money for that form of entertainment, to see the particular IP they appreciate and enjoy. They're willing to go ahead and spend the money to go ahead and watch and stay and be entertained and continue spending money in the pop culture world, such as merchandise, toy collections. Even if they were to come out with a DVD or Blu-ray or whatever extreme edition, collector's edition, whatever, they're willing to spend the money to get it. Like, it's one of those things that's like, all right, within the pop culture world, stuff like that, these businesses and these companies who's making an investment in certain things to get something done, for example, Sonic, which was one of the things you just mentioned, they took a chance on, because I'm pretty sure there's guys in suits with pieces of papers and tablets and laptops talking about like, all right, well, in order for us to invest in this movie, we need to have this much in return and this and this and this, and we need to do that and we need to do this. There's this. Let's put it out there. There's an agenda when it comes to putting out certain things. Like if Sonic, which is to me, my biggest gripe about it right now, it's they put a Sonic movie out, but where's like Sega could have made more money. If they believed in, if they really believed in Sonic, they could have made more money if they put more properties out there for Sonic, along with the movies. Because you realize there wasn't a game.
True.
There was no game around the corner when that movie dropped.
Yeah, those Sonic titles, I think, were on sale. The Nintendo Store had a few of them on sale, but they could have dropped a game. Maybe not based on the movie.
Yeah, not based on the movie.
Because movie license games are another story.
Yeah.
But they could have definitely released a new Sonic title to go with it.
A game. I'm surprised it wasn't a game. And and I was reading on social media. I was like, oh yeah, Sega said this is going to be Sonic's year. So just the movie, where's the games? Where the collectibles and stuff like that? Like where the toy line? Where's the merch line? Like there
should be toys in Walmart and Target. Exactly.
All that
should have came along with it.
Gone. I'm like Sega. Like wow. Like I don't get it. They're like. You're just basing it off the movie. Like you should have believed in your property. Sonic is a big name. You should have released a game. You should have doubled up. Get
the hype going, hype train on all formats.
Not
just the theater.
Because I was looking at every other movie that came out, they had a merch line. Like as far as I know, like when Power Rangers was out, they had toys, merch, everything out. Movie didn't do so hot, but the toy sales did pretty well.
Yeah.
Sonic should have done the same thing, but that's the thing that boggles me is companies should, if they're going to invest in something or take a chance on something like that, go full 100%. Like what was it? Yeah, like you when it came to Birds of Prey and stuff like that, you went to you can kind of use Hot Topic and Spencer's as a prime example of what they're doing.
Harley Quinn and Joker, Ben took over those stores.
Suicide
Squad.
You'll see a line their lineup of stuff, and you'll definitely see Joker and Harley Quinn stuff at Spencer's and Hot Topic and stuff. And as for kids and stuff like that, like for example, Sonic was one of those movies. I went to Walmart, I went to Target, not one Sonic merch I seen anywhere. They probably had it at Hot Topic or Spencer and stuff like that. But I mean, should we've evolved in this world where I barely go to stores for anything anymore. I've ordered everything online. Yeah. Which is another thing that's also impacted pop culture. Bro, can you believe? Speaking of pop culture in the gaming industry, I went to watch Sonic at my local movie theater. And next to our movie theater, there is a GameStop right next to it. Usually, I go to the movies, I watch a movie, then I go to GameStop, and check out some games. That GameStop is closed.
Gone.
Empty. I used to work for that game store before too, and it's gone. The same movie theater that I worked at to watch Sonic, is where I used to work at. That was actually my first job. But when I saw GameStop, that was my second job, and it's closed. Now, here's another part of pop culture that I want to discuss with you about. It's what's impacting other industries. Now, I mentioned that GameStop has closed down because of what's going on in the world. Pop culture, GameStop was trying to, cash in the pop culture galore, because you realize when you went to that game store, there was shirts, toys, all that other stuff. When at GameStop should have been games, a stop for games,
Yeah, and I think what that was just simply because games was no longer cutting it for GameStop. When they gave you a buck back for your $30 game or whatever,
exactly.
And the trade-ins. I think Amazon online sales killed GameStop. Buying brand new games for a cheaper price killed, I think, GameStop. The conveniency of having it delivered to your house, no pre-ordering, no BS, no have to get a GameStop card, none of those hassles, I think, didn't help GameStop in the end. And I think the conversion of what you were saying, of how they have T-shirts now, they have action figures, they have board games, they have any of these other things. Why are they having all these other things now in their store? And it's because they're trying to immerse themselves into little other pieces of market and other pieces of the industry, so you can have like a pulp culture, mini pulp culture center store per se, and you can get a little bit of everything. But the games themselves, in terms of game sales, especially with the digital age and people just buying straight from PlayStation or Xbox online, just
me.
Yep, buying it straight from the store online, and then you download it and boom, don't have to go in your car, don't got to talk to GameStop employee, don't have to go to opening 9 BS. Hell, the thing will even download the night before, and then as soon as 12 a.m. hit, pop that bad boy up, and you're good to go. I definitely think that GameStop is just, I don't know what their business model is. They're going to change. I think that there were mentions about they were going to do retro gaming again and start reselling like NES games and Dreamcast games to try to create a more immersive experience. Now, it's no longer about can you sell games, it's what kind of experience can you provide for the customer coming into our store and having a good positive experience that they're going to want to come back over and over and spend more money. It's the same thing with Buffalo Wild Wings. You can watch the game at home. It's cheaper. You can buy your food, buy your beer, whatever, but you go to Buffalo Wild Wings for the experience of enjoying the sport with others, and then you cheer, you guys get loud. It's the experience of being there rather than just watching the game. I think GameStop is trying to emulate that for their stores from now, and possibly get that kind of like a retro gaming, kind of like a local mom and pop feel for their stores, to try to turn things around for them.
My biggest thing about what GameStop is doing, I'm very, very perplexed about the whole entire business model in general. You know what? It's no big secret that I'm not a big fan of GameStop, even though I used to work there. I'm just not a big fan of it because of the fact of the matter is when I go there, I'm talked to like I'm dumb, like I'm new to video games. Entirely. Like I'm a tech head and I love video games, and I stay up to it because I watch a lot of YouTube videos and I stay up on podcast videos. Podcast listenings and videos, and I listen to what other average consumers are doing and what their thought process when it comes to buying games. And most of them are buying digital. A few of them are buying physically because they're a collector. I'm a collector to a certain extent, but I only collect a certain galore of things. But when it comes to games, I opted to go digital everything because of the convenience. Convenience factor. To go back to Kingdom Hearts 3, I pre-ordered the game strictly out in my system, and I waited for that countdown. And as soon as 12 o'clock hit, it was ready to go. Ready to go. It already pre-downloaded and everything. It was ready to go. Same thing with Smash Brothers. I pre-ordered it. When midnight hit, it was ready to go. Oh yeah, that was fun. That was a fun night. And that's like don't get me wrong. I miss the midnight hangouts and stuff like that because you're going out there for the experience, but experience doesn't really matter anymore. Like. People are finding other opportunities for the experience because now you're having small, I guess groups and communities, in a little niche hosting your own tournaments and stuff like esports tournaments and stuff. And you know, you even got conventions. People are knowing about conventions. Yeah, they're a bit pricey to a certain amount of people, but if you want that core experience of gaming, you know, to be a part of the gaming community, you'll make your way to go to these gaming. I mean, not just gaming conventions, but any conventions that has a gaming community involved. Yeah. You will make every opportunity to go there and enjoy that experience. For what GameStop is doing, stuff like that, like it was a point in time where it felt like their business model in general is like, you know what, they didn't care about the customers. It's like, find out a way to rip them off. You know?
Yeah, we've all experienced that as
we would exploit you. It's like, you got a couple of trade-ins, we'll give you $1.50 for a stack of 20 games, and you'll live with it, you know. And then you try to say you want it in cash, you get 50 cents, you know, or maybe that, you know. But then you're that whole entire, you know, business model. It's confusing to me, because it's about cramming stuff down your throat with power-up cards and Game Informer magazines, and did you want to pre-order this and pre-order that, you know, so we can come back and we can harass you again. Like, every time that I go to GameStop, I feel like that I'm being harassed. And when I used to work there, it used to be like you're an asset to game culture. People look to you to talk to about games
in general,
and that was the fun part about the job. But now they're like, no, cram all this stuff into their mouths until they eat it. But then when you look at it now, what they're trying to do now is they're hemorrhaging money, a lot of money. So there's like, all right, well, we need to have power to the gamers, so we're gonna have retro lounges and all that stuff like that. I said, you know what, it's kind of a little too late.
A little bit too late.
A little too late. You know, and my general mindset is like, you guys should have revamped your whole business model and stuff like that. I said, you didn't need these small little stores. What's the matter? Because these big giant department stores that were shutting down, you know, like, what was it? Sears
gone, Kmart's going.
Yeah, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
GameStop should have traded in. Like, literally traded in their small little stores and bought a bigger department store and have that lounge.
Right.
You could have that lounge. Then you can also, with computer gaming, PC gaming is at its all-time high. And I go to GameStop and says, why do you not have anything for PC gamers when that is highly profitable? You could trade and sell GPUs. Graphics cards are about $1,000. You know, you could have had a trade and sell for graphics cards. You could have a trade and sell for processors. You could have a trade and sell for keyboards. You could have gaming chairs. You could have gaming accessories. Because streaming is at its all-time high, and GameStop just missed the boat on that. And I'm like, this is like common sense right here. Like, you want to appeal to pop culture. Esports is now part of pop culture. It is. You could argue and say, no, that's gaming culture and stuff like that. Gaming still intertwines with pop culture, and gaming has become such huge industry. Like, how often can you go watch ESPN2 and see Street Fighter characters fight each other? You know?
Yeah, you tell me 10 years, 5 years ago. Oh yeah, there's Street Fighters going to be played on ESPN. You'd be like, nah, get out of here. But esports are being played on ESPN and other cable channels now.
Yeah.
It's nuts to think. I mean, people heard about the Fortnite player in the world earning millions for winning the tournament, and then the YouTube channels on Fortnite, whatever. These guys are getting millions for having YouTube channels on gaming. So it's definitely broadened its allure and its audience. And I think you were right about the PC thing for sure, man. I think that's an audience that's a demographic they completely miss. You go on GameStop, you don't see anything for PC, maybe a mouse or two, maybe if even that. My only thing with that is that maybe PC gamers download other games, and maybe they see that they don't really do physical sales as much. Maybe. Yeah. That's the only kind of argument I could see with that. But I definitely think they're missing out on the like the esports, the cafe kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Having that kind of like group interactive like LAN parties, stuff like that, where you can try it out with a few stores. Maybe you can have it as a hangout spot per se, GameStop sponsor teams of like Street Fighter, Call of Duty, Halo. You're sponsored by the GameStop of Hampton.
Yeah.
And you can have like a GameStop league where it's GameStop teams from different, states, whatever.
Exactly.
And they go at it to be the ultimate GameStop champ.
Yeah.
And then they compete at the at the other tournaments, and you have the GameStop representatives on an official team. They could literally be like what's Sonic Fox? Was it Echo Fox? They could be kind of like that kind of a big time player in the esports scene. You know, the number one Fortnite player is on the GameStop team. How that brings allure to your brand, and people want to like, oh, I want to go for the GameStop. I want to go to GameStop or be on the GameStop team per se. And it's also just a show of the times of how, look at Toys R Us. Toys R Us went down. You look at these department stores. The toy sections are shrinking. A lot of the departments are shrinking in these big stores now because it's just the online people are buying clothes online. They're they're getting everything online. The price for conveniency is people are willing to pay for it. They don't want to go food shopping. They go on Instacart, and they get someone to go grocery shopping for them. They don't want to drive. They can take a Uber. They take a Lyft. Conveniency right now is where it's at in terms of sales and numbers. And GameStop, I don't know how GameStop can really battle that, but developing an experience in a community where you want to support your local GameStop because I'm on their team or whatever like that. That might have been a way for them to turn things around. They definitely should have had the foresight to see this when Toys R Us and these other companies are going down, and seeing how digital sales are going up. And also there's that with the movies as well. People don't want to pay for the movie theater experience anymore. They rather wait it out 5-6 months, hope that it goes on Netflix. Or they get all the streaming services and like, well, it's going to land on one of them.
Yeah.
I'll just wait it out and watch it on Netflix. Don't have to pay for popcorn, soda, all that, and get my seat and deal with loud people or kids. I'm literally in my house, switch on the TV, switch on my Blu-ray or DVD or PS4 or whatever, Xbox, literally watch Hulu and watch the movie I wanted to see right then and there on the couch. It's a culture thing of conveniency now. I think it's a new. It's not new, but it's a growing thing in pop culture in general.
It's definitely gonna. I wouldn't say it's part of pop culture, but I wanted to say it's impacting pop culture because what's going on. Because like you just said, man, like we're keeping up with the times. Because now the generation before us, it's almost like adapt or be lost in a game, because we're the one that's taking over and creating opportunities for ourselves now, and we've kind of changed the game in general because, like I said, the conveniences of with Lyft and Uber and people delivering stuff all to you, which is great, and we're part of this digital age now that we're getting in the transition to the 8th generation of gaming with the PS5 and Xbox Series and what's ever to come and stuff, and however GameStop is going to survive after those start selling, I don't know, but I'm going to put a bold statement in there. They're not going to be around by 2025 to keep up with what they're doing right now. Yeah, because it's a shame, because I don't get me wrong, I like GameStop, but they've missed out on restructuring their business model, appealing to the gamers. Like, should have been there for the gamers. They should have had their own convention, because I want to also talk about gaming and continuation, because the biggest report now is E3 is a dying medium.
Yeah, it's outdated.
It's outdated.
It's expensive. There's no reason to attend it now. Nintendo, you can do a Nintendo Direct. You can do a Sony Direct. You can do your own your own production team can present your products and the next big titles being released in a 20 to 30 minute demonstration, or you could do it live or whatever. You can do it in house and show it to the world, and you're good to go. You don't need to pay for travel. You don't need to book this big expensive convention center anymore. And it's sad because back when we were growing up, E3 was like Hollywood,
the source to know,
on video games.
Yeah.
You know, it got that Hollywood appeal. They would make the E3 demos would have crazy decorations and models. And the displays were like legendary. It was literally like a Las Vegas convention of video games that you had to attend. It was a party environment, but also had kind of it's more corporate now, but back then it had definitely more of a party feel, more of like a lively feel. People were waiting hours in line to play the Wii.
But back then that was geared to press, but now it's open to public now.
Press, yeah. It was like I got invited to E3. Like, I'm special, you know. And now it's more like a corporate, a little bit more low key, and a little bit more like, well, this is for the future. There's that hype, that E3 hype is kind of come and gone. You used to watch videos on like just videos upon videos of being there, and it was a really special thing. Yeah. And it's just with the times now, it's just like, well, just turn on your laptop and you can watch Nintendo give you directly what you want, and then that's it. There's no need to travel. There's no need to travel.
Everything is really just a click of your finger or a swipe of your thumb, you know, just to get the gaming news. Because it's almost like if you're really, really big into pop culture or even a gaming community in general and stuff like that, and you honestly do not need a background in journalism no more.
No, you don't. You could be a nice online blogger and get your followers, and you're in.
Yeah, like you could really just go in and like, hey, well, I mean, what journalism is basically just being a personality and giving your insight on certain things, you know. And,
right, correct.
You know, what E3 has evolved, where it's open to the public, but now it doesn't matter anymore because of these gaming companies. They're shadow dropping IPs like it's nothing, you know. And you can wake up in the morning, look at YouTube. Oh, a certain game just dropped a trailer, you know. Then you can sit there. It's like, you know what? Turn on your webcam or turn on your streaming camera and stuff like that, and just report on the news. Yeah. Hey, blah blah blah, dropped a trailer. Let's go ahead and do an overview about it and stuff, you know, and what's so exciting about it. And then let me go on Twitter and read rumors all day. And let's spectate all day.
All day.
And these people are getting paid on spot.
Yeah.
On the spot. There's no waiting for a paycheck from the big guy with the suit and tie and stuff like that, from whatever news reputable source, whether it's Kotaku or IGN or whatever. There's none of that going on. It's people paying for your opinions, whether it's through Patreon or however they're or whatever, like a super chat or whatever. They're paying for your opinion, you know. And,
facts.
You know, and it's crazy. I love the evolution of it, but also it's sad at the same time because we're losing out on the magical stuff of what we enjoyed on certain things. But however, you know, like it's one of those things that we just have. It's just the growing with the times. Because I had an argument with a friend about Sony didn't need to be at E3 this year, and he was like, "Are you crazy? Sony needs to be at E3 because it's a gaming convention." I said, "Look at the times.
Yeah.
Sony doesn't need E3. Sony has the money to go fund their own event, and I know they can, you know, and they can go ahead and make their own announcements at any time and any way they please, you know." And you know, and we were arguing about this at MagFest. Weeks later, they went to CS. They introduced the logo. Then weeks later, they announced, nope, not going to E3. Yeah. And I said, see, that's a business mindset right there. Yeah. You know, they're in a marketing lead. They don't need to do any of that. Now Nintendo is following suit. There was rumors that they wasn't going to go to E3, but they are going to go there. But they're not going to do anything big like they used to. No. Like, they're not going to do a stage presentation or none of that. They're going to have their little treehouse events and their little show floor. But I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking next year they might not be there either. Yeah, you know,
it's evolve and go with the times. I mean, remember video game magazines used to be big. It was EGM, Game Informer, official PlayStation magazine, Xbox magazine. Some came with demos or whatever, and time just goes with the times. They fade it out because the internet, you can grab, get the information on the internet now. No need to have it in a physical medium.
Yeah.
And even now, so it's evolved to the fact that GameTrailers.com used to be that joint, and now RIP, that's gone, and Screw Attack and all. Everything just evolves and changes now, in the way we get information and the way things are accessible for us now. And E3 is a dying medium, and it's a dying event, and who knows what will if it could change, if it can evolve into something else, if it can incorporate other things as well. But also in a sense, there's a similar thing kind of going on with comic conventions, with San Diego Comic-Con. Some of the bigger movie companies now, they love to showcase what they got going on for the next couple years there, and make big movie announcements. But now some of them are kind of easing back now on their announcements there. They don't need to. There's no longer that need to, we have to give a great impression at San Diego Comic-Con, otherwise we have a bad start to marketing for a movie. That pressure is now gone. So now you're kind of seeing a little bit similar now. It's not hitting as hard because you still have Marvel, Warner Brothers, and other people. They'll give you something, but it's not as much as they used to go all out before. And there's just, again, there's so much money involved. San Diego Comic-Con attendance is not in any kind of trouble at all. But there is a little bit of shift to change of the importance, I guess, of these big media events in pop culture, where they're not entirely necessarily needed anymore, but they're mostly for marketing not even for marketing purpose, just as a goodwill for fans and to bring some excitement and as an event in general. I feel like what you said about GameStop, maybe they could have had something going on for them themselves. They definitely dropped the ball, in my opinion, on their business model. They could have maybe done a rental gaming service similar or something. They tried and it failed, or maybe they were just too late. I think back in the day, Blockbuster had a chance to buy Netflix, and Blockbuster was like, oh, this will never work. People love coming to our video stores and not getting the video that they want on Friday night, and then they do find a video that they like, and then they don't return it, and then we'll charge you $20 a day that you don't return the tape. They love that process. Netflix will never go off, will never succeed. Had a chance to buy Netflix, didn't do it, and now look where the tides have turned.
It's almost one of those things is when you don't take a chance at something, it can look, sometimes when you take a chance at something, it can look dark and gloomy, but however, if you kept up with the tides and stuff like that, you could have prevailed. Toys R Us is one of the pure examples and stuff. They could have prevailed. They didn't need to be a toy store. They could easily became an online toy sale place. Where they could have had that. They don't necessarily need a huge department store. The little small little stores. That's all they needed. They could have been. What we had back in the day was KB Toys.
KB Toys.
That's all you needed.
RIP.
Yeah, that's all you needed was a small little store and have all the rest of your toy lines online. Keep it online because they should have known. They should have kept up with the times. People go to stores now as a showroom, and I'm a prime example of that. I go to Best Buy. I look at computers, I look at computer parts, I look at TVs, I look at games, I look at everything that I know that I want in the future. And
then you go on Amazon.com.
Yeah, I'm on my smartphone, and I go to Amazon, I go to eBay, put in cart, ship out.
Yeah.
Then you got the assistants like, can I help you with anything? It's all paid for. It'll be in my doorstep, in 2 to 3 days. Because the only time that you'll go to anywhere else is like if you need something instantly and stuff like. There's things I don't need anything like. There's things I don't need right away.
Yeah.
Except for your bathroom trees and all that stuff like but everything else, such as clothes and games and toys or whatever you do collect stuff like that, you don't need right away. You can just wait for it in the mail, and basically it's almost like one of those things. It's like, hey man, the best job to get now is to be a delivery man because you're gonna constantly get work. You know?
For sure.
But yeah, just the way that things are going right now. Times are changing. Like you said, Comic-Con has evolved. Where it's more than just a showcase place. It's a big celebration for pop culture.
Yeah.
And I always knew that conventions was that medium to do that, because it's people that's they feel obligated to go to celebrate something. It's almost like come to think about it, past 6 years since the time I've known you, that's all I've based my time of going out for anything now. I used to go to the stores a lot and just go window shopping sometimes, stuff like that. But now I'm window shopping online. Like I said, I rarely go to clothing stores to buy anything. Because everything I like to see, they'll have your size online. They might not have your size at the store.
Right.
So that's changed my medium of my lifestyle. And toys and stuff like that. You're gonna go through the frustrations. If you're a huge collector, you're gonna go driving around GameStop or Toys R Us, stuff like that, running the risk of something being sold out. However, when you go online, it's there.
It's there.
Yeah.
Some like the hunt though. Some like that's the fun of it. For
some of them,
like
you'll have the people that like the hunt. It's within their nature to go hunt. But there's things where I don't have to worry about things. Like was it Switch? There was a point in time that was sold out.
Oh yeah.
People had a hard time. I bought mine at GameStop, but if I really, really wanted it on when it first released, I'd ordered it online, But it's one of those things. It's like I said, times is changing. And it's 2020, and we got a whole new decade ahead of us that we can continue seeing. Times has changed. Like I say, E3 might become a dying medium. Comic-Con might not be the exclusive place to introduce movies, as far as I know. That's almost the scary part of it now that you mention it. Like, they don't feel for companies not feeling obligated to go. It's almost scary, because of the fact of the matter is like, all right, well, we don't need your anticipation anymore. We can do this in our own free willingly. Mm-hmm. It's almost like I've also mentioned a funny vision. What if Sony never ever revealed the system and just shadow drop it the day of the launch? Do they need to market it?
Yeah. Dude, artists, Jay-Z will drop an album, or whoever, they'll just drop an album, say Eminem, here you go.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
What if they get to that point?
You rush to it. J. Cole, you rush to it.
Yeah.
You rush to your laptop or your phone. You try to find that Jane instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
What if we get to that point 10 years from now where nobody needs to make marketing decisions and brand, they'll be like, hey, this is coming soon. No more of that coming soon business. Just a shadow drop.
Shadow drops.
There you go.
Yeah. We could be slowly heading that way.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's almost the scary part. Like, you can go to the movie or something like that, and like, you look at the listings. Oh, when did that come out? Well, there's the Spider-Man 3. When did that come out?
Yeah. Now, movies might be a little bit different because you definitely need your dates set in stone, so you don't compete with you don't want to drop your movie the same day that Avengers 6 will drop their movie.
True.
You gotta have the thing. You gotta have that timetable of how long the production's gonna take, and that might be a little bit different. It's definitely for streaming. That's a beneficial thing where you just you wake up and like, boom, here's season 3 of Castlevania. What? You know what I'm saying? Streaming, I can definitely see that more so because there's less consequences and they're more flexible to just shadow drop stuff whenever they want to.
Yeah.
Movies might take a little longer. But who knows? Who knows in the future? It might get there.
It might get there.
Might get there.
I said it as a joke, It's like, maybe if they get to that point, they'll just... Here you go. We don't got to tell you anything. Just this shadow drop. It's kind of like back in the day where, when you had friends and we didn't have smartphones and stuff like that. They'd just come knock on your door. Hey, you want to come out and play?
Right.
It's kind of like one of those unexpected visits, We might happen like that in pop culture. If anything else is coming out, just won't tell you. Just drop it.
I think we're in a weird age where, like you said, just surprises and we try to plan and schedule our day. We're really in a kind of in an age of knowing. I know what I'm gonna do today. I know what I'm gonna do tomorrow. I don't have any kind of surprises. No one, hey, I'm heading your way. that day when you were a kid and you knock on the door like, hey, let's go hang out, or like the day where there were times you were surprised the movie was out, like, wait, what? Like, this is out for real? Well, let's go see it. I didn't know this was coming out.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Just through media, it didn't just catch your eye. It just didn't go through. You didn't hear about it. And in this also in terms of like anime and TV shows too.
I forgot to mention that medium.
Anime and TV shows. You didn't know something was gonna drop. You didn't know. Nowadays, like they're adapting this manga and this studio is animating it and it's gonna drop next year in March. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, it just dropped. You're like, what is this? The age of being surprised by something. Like there's spoilers everywhere now. Spoilers for everything, whether it be wrestling, comics, movies in general. Spoilers for everything. That time period being surprised. Goku going Super Saiyan for the first time, mind blowing. Back in the day, wrestling, you didn't know who was gonna win the card. I mean, a few people did know, but to the mass audience who didn't really deal with their research and homework, you didn't know if The Rock was gonna or Stone Cold was gonna win, or it's those times have changed now. We're in this age of like we know what's gonna happen. We know how this movie's gonna end. Spoilers, like back in the day, you didn't have to worry about spoilers unless you talked to one of your friends. Now you're on your social media. Oh, there goes the meme. Oh, I know exactly what's gonna happen now. We're almost in a sense of like we're maybe a little bit too much information. Maybe that sense of like that joy of being genuinely surprised by something is gone now. And like, for example, for me, for the Final Fantasy VII remake, I ain't looking nothing at anything for that thing. I'm hyped for it. But I watched one trailer. I've been waiting for like 10 years for this thing. I'm not looking into all the analysis of the gameplay and the trailers. I mean, I've watched a couple screenshots and I watched one trailer like a couple months ago, and that is it. I want to have that feeling again when I was a kid and I saw my friend play this game, Final Fantasy VII, and I'm like, this is amazing. I bought this game. I got the strategy guide, and was just completely blown away by all surprises, characters, and storylines. And now I'm trying to replicate that feeling again. I'm basically just not even looking at any of the trailers and material. So when I pop that disc in or download it that day, my mind is going to be like, I even know it's familiar territory. It's not like I've seen the trailer 100 times. I won't be able. So there's so many breakdown videos. People want to decode the movie before it comes out. You see, we got the new trailer for Black Widow. We're gonna decode this thing in 20 minutes and tell you exactly what every frame of the trailer entails to. And like, oh, you see this costume piece. This is from Black Widow number 5 in 1965 in this storyline. And it's just we're in this weird age of just trying to just knowing everything and anything, and that age where we're genuinely surprised and enjoyed by being surprised is kind of gone. It's kind of like a ghost. And
that's one thing I wanted to talk to you real quick. I guess I'll try to mention 2 more subjects and we'll wrap it up. But
okay.
The one thing that I want to piggyback off of is when you talked about wrestling. We're in the age of knowing. Now the industry has got to the point where we're on the internet where so many personalities are deep diving into what's going on behind the scenes when it comes to writers now, and what's going on in productions and what's going on with rehearsals. Like wrestling rehearsals, talking like, well, so and so was going to win and blah blah blah. Like I said, whoa, you just took out the magic of wrestling now, because it used to be like, hey, it's an escapism art. You wanted to go in and you wanted to hear a good story. Now you're watching wrestling. Now it's a shell of its former self. And like I said, we're in an age of the knowing. People pretty much wants to tell you what's going to happen and what to expect. Oh, so-and-so superstar is getting ready to leave the WWE because they're unhappy and blah, blah, blah. It's because of creative differences or blah, 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 or so-and-so is getting ready to leave because he's going Hollywood. Like, wrestling is one of the mediums that's also impacted pop culture, because now,
definitely,
you got these wrestlers getting into movies. Who's it? Batista was in Guardians of the Galaxy. John Cena is in Fast and Furious. The Rock is killing it in general. He's in Disney, being in Moana. It's
Jungle Cruise movie coming out.
So WWE is a just wrestling in general is one of the things that's also impacted pop culture. But when it comes to the medium, the spectacle itself, it's become a dying medium because people wants to be in the knowing of superstars, the lifestyles, you know.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is that what's that term they want to use? That I guess when you break character or something like that.
God, I forgot the term too. But
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
what you're talking about.
So basically, now people are just calling themselves characters in the ring now, you know. But when they go out there in real life, oh, I'm not The Rock, or I'm not that John Cena. I'm your average day Joe, John Cena. So it's one of those things is impacting, the way that we're perceiving or accepting things, in general, because like you just said too, you got people that wants to spoil what's already out there. Yeah, people were like Spider-Man, people were like, Batman and stuff like that, but you get the comic heads, which is equivalent to anime. You people that there's anime out there, so you got the manga heads, people like
Yeah.
oh well, the manga is way better, and in the manga this is what's gonna happen and stuff like that. They want to be in the knowing, and some
Yeah.
people who are deep in the fandom and stuff like that, they really want to know. They go read the manga, beforehand, because almost like Walking Dead was one of those things as well, where it was a comic. People knew that it was a comic book before it was a show and stuff like that. So they were like, "Oh, this character's gonna die, or this is gonna happen to the character, or somebody's gonna lose an eye, or somebody's gonna be eaten by a zombie." Like, people want to be in the know. It's like, do you want to be like the art of being surprised is almost gone, and
It is.
it's also impacting pop culture. But another thing is, I still think that there's also room for a surprise, to be surprised, because Nintendo's doing a pretty good job at it. Super Smash Brothers is a prime example.
Yeah.
In fact, fighting games in general has became a prime example of surprises because of guest characters. Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right on that. Nintendo's very tight-lipped on the new. It was fun speculating. Almost a little bit of a headache. People are really delving into it.
Yeah.
But genuinely surprised, like Richter Belmont, Simon Belmont, King K. Rool, Terry, all the DLC characters. Everyone's Banjo.
Yeah.
It's been a wild, nice fight. Tekken as well with Leroy.
Yeah.
People are genuinely, the fighting games have done pretty well, and not having any kind of leaks or any kind of hints of what's to come. And even the last Pokemon game, Sword and Shield, they didn't reveal the starter evolutions until pretty much the game's release.
Yeah.
And they didn't show you everything. Usually, they show you everything, and you kind of pick out your team, you pick out your moves, exactly what you're gonna get before you get the game. And so I think, to your credit, games have gotten a little bit better. Certain games have gotten better with keeping surprises, so that when upon release you're like, oh wow, I didn't know, had no clue. Hell, sometimes Nintendo will like say, on a Nintendo Direct they'll showcase something and they'll shadow drop it, like it'll be available right after the Nintendo Direct. Like, oh wow, dope, like I didn't know, sweet.
I think that's probably the only thing that we can actually get surprises from now. It's from video games, because it's an unexpected world.
Yeah.
Like Devil May Cry was a prime example of stuff like that. So, Dante's back.
Yeah.
Or shoot, like Mega Man coming back with Mega Man 11 after 10 years of being gone in the gaming industry. It's just those surprises that we enjoy. Now you see Resident Evil remakes, stuff like that. It's like, oh man, like if you would have said, 10 or 20 years from now, it's like, hey man, those properties that you grew up with, that you're enjoying now, you're gonna see it again 20 years from now, and it's going to be a bigger hit than before.
Right.
It's
but crazy.
It's one of those things that like I used to get mad about what people do when it comes into trying to spoil what's going to happen. But then, like I said, like you get worried. I said, man, what if we get to the point where there is no surprises on things, and like, so that the feeling of surprise is almost like that feeling that we live for,
Yeah,
we want to be surprised. We want to be caught off guard, and certain mediums are willing to do that. Like, I think the only thing I can only think of is, sometimes wrestling can do it. Sometimes our shows that we like watching can do it. Like,
sometimes,
like for example, in wrestling, a wrestler will come back out of nowhere out of retirement to do something, or
like Edge recently did. Yeah, exactly.
like Edge and Power Rangers. I think the next season coming out, actually 5 days from now, I'm being reminded on Instagram constantly. Next season 2 coming out. But they're bringing back some old cast members, and one of them is Austin St. John.
I heard about that.
Yeah, so he's gonna be in season 2. Maybe some more old comers and stuff like that. Which is, I think, Power Rangers need to be doing anyways, because you got the modern day cast, which is probably what we'll have to leave on the next topic or something like that. Because the next topic we're probably going to end up talking about, maybe it's Toku and Power Rangers in general and stuff like that. Which is to you guys who are listening to us, it's part of our enjoyments in life as well.
Oh yeah, that's our genetic makeup right there. Nerdom, man. Love that Toku, Power Rangers, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Ultraman, Godzilla. I mean, that's our thing.
That's definitely our thing. But yeah, man, I like those are the things that I wanted to talk about with everybody else. As our first episode is definitely the state of pop culture and what's changed and what to look forward to in the future, because it's 2020 now and it's looking like that we're in for another huge ride, because as of right now, the industry is gearing up for bigger things, because now we got smartphones that are flipping again. Phones that are flipping again, or folding and stuff. And now we got new generation systems coming out with the PS5 and Xbox Series, and you got Hollywood stepping up with more and more properties, and I feel like they are taking more chances and rebooting more and more stuff, as they always do. And toy line, they got toys. They're more intricate than ever before, like more detailed than what we grew up as kids, like wow, and the clothing line and merchandise and stuff like that. There's more and more and more to offer. Convention scenes, just about everything else that we've all grew up with has come come full circle and even bigger than before, But other than that, that's pop culture for you. Is there anything else you wanted to add about the growing of pop culture?
No, man. I think we pretty much talked about everything we wanted to talk about. I'm excited for the next release, which will be Toku Talk. That's where my heart and soul is at. So yeah, man, it's been definitely a great podcast so far, and I'm excited for the future of it.
Well, this is definitely the first pilot of our episode. We hope you guys enjoyed. We will be uploading this here on SoundCloud and on YouTube. We're going to be looking at other mediums to upload, looking at Spotify and iTunes. But as of right now, we're just gearing up for bigger things to come. But if you definitely want to go ahead and check us out on social media and be the first to pioneer us in general, to be like, hey, we were the first pioneers. We're here from start to finish. You're definitely feel free to follow us on social media. We already got all that already set in stone. We've conquered every social media platforms at Homeboy Talk. That is HOMEBOITALK. That's Homeboy Talk on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, SoundCloud, and on YouTube. We're getting ready to conquer more social media platforms. But as of right now, we're going to be uploading topics that we would like to talk about. If there's anything else you would like for us to talk about, you feel free to reach us at any other platforms. You can also DM us and everything else. We're also going to be working on a few other things, that will let you know as we progress in this journey of ours here on Homeboy Talk Podcast. But other than that, the next episode, which is probably be our official first episode, is Toku Talk and I guess just the live action culture in general.
Oh yeah, Henshin.
Henshin. So that is our time. My name is 𝑂RRION online. You can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and all the major social media platforms. And where else they can follow you?
Name's Dion Donovan. You can guys follow me on Title Page Comics on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Oh, cool. That's our time, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to give us some feedback, because once we get more feedback from you guys, that will help us improve in future episodes. But other than that, you guys take care. I'm out. Offline.
Peace.